Afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us in the second half hour of this hour-long 4 p.m. newscast. I'm Tom Sherry.
And I'm Whitney Ward. We're glad you're here. We have breaking news now at 4:30. Just announced some sweeping changes for anyone who lives or visits King County. So anyone who's going to be dining inside a bar or a restaurant, attending an indoor event, or even attending an outdoor event with more than 500 people in King County, you're going to need to be fully vaccinated starting October 25th. In order to get to any of those places, not only do you have to be vaccinated, you have to be able to prove that you are vaccinated or be ready to start taking COVID tests on a regular basis.
So for people who are unvaccinated or people who don't have proof of vaccination, a negative COVID-19 test taken within the last 72 hours will be required. Vaccination requirements don't apply to outdoor dining, takeout customers, or places that aren't primarily used as restaurants, including grocery stores. Small restaurants with the capacity for less than 12 people will have until December 6th to make the change. The new order was put into place today because of the rise in COVID cases and hospitalizations and deaths.
And Pfizer is now recommending the FDA approve a booster shot of its COVID-19 vaccine 6 months after the second shot. The FDA's independent advisory committee will now review and discuss that latest data to potentially approve a booster shot for all Americans. So they are going to be doing that review on Friday. Then the CDC will decide who ultimately will get it. The Biden administration was aiming for Monday to be the target date for booster shots to become available. Washington health leaders say we've been in a fifth wave of coronavirus now for some time. But what does the term mean when we're actually talking about the disease? And how do vaccination rates play into it? Here's what we know right now.
Let's talk waves. No, not those waves, COVID waves. In 2020, every wave of cases resulted in a similar-looking wave of hospitalizations and deaths. As cases increased a week or so later, so would hospitalizations. And as hospitalizations increased a few weeks later, so unfortunately would deaths. Eventually, the cases would peak, the wave would crest, and hospitals would start to calm, which brings us to a critical goal of vaccinations. With Delta circulating, we know we're going to see more waves. The key is, will the vaccine ease the hospitalizations and deaths that routinely followed last year? Take the United Kingdom, for example. A few months ago, cases once again started to rise quickly. Another wave was upon them. But this time, in a country with more than 60% of its residents vaccinated, the case wave was not followed by a similar increase in hospitalizations. Look, while cases jumped like this, hospitalizations didn't. The two metrics, in essence, decoupled from one another. That's a good sign the vaccine is working by preventing the most serious of cases. The problem is, that's not what we're seeing in many states in the U.S. Look at Idaho and Tennessee, for example. Two states far apart, both have seen recent record-breaking case spikes, which have led to sharp and record-breaking increases in hospitalizations as well. No decoupling in either. There are now more people in Tennessee and Idaho hospitals than at any previous point in this pandemic. Why? It's not entirely clear, although pockets of both states do remain highly unvaccinated and thus unprotected from the virus. So why pay attention to this? Because as long as cases and hospitalizations continue to rise in unison, it's going to be tough to put these waves and the pandemic itself behind us.
And with kids back in school and COVID cases on the rise in children, a lot of you have been asking if a minor needs parental consent to get a vaccine in the state of Washington.
Well, Krem2's Mark Hanrahan took that question to the managing attorney for an organization called Team Child. Now, that's a statewide nonprofit legal firm for juveniles here in Washington.
As a child, a minor in the state of Washington, do they need their parents' consent to get a vaccine, specifically the COVID vaccine?
Yeah, so for all vaccines, generally the answer is yes, they need parent consent if they are under 18.
Okay, so there are some exceptions where a minor can get a non-emergency procedure like a vaccine without their parents' consent, and we're going to explain that coming up in Mark's Verify report. That is on Krem2 News at 10 and 11 o'clock tonight. All right, let's take another quick break. We want to talk about the weather that is moving in. The long story short, it sounds like if you maybe want to get out and walk the dog tonight, do it because that's your last chance for a while.
Yeah, and tomorrow day.
Okay.
I think you can do tomorrow day,
good.
and then we're going to get the wet weather in the evening.
All right.
And especially early Saturday morning. Look at the blue sky and sunshine.
Love it.
We already talked about how cold it was this morning. You can see that we have a flash flood watch in effect. That's because of all the rain expected rolling off the east slopes of the northern Cascades into the Okanagan Highlands. That's going to be Friday night through Saturday afternoon. Again, that area shaded in green. Again, that's in north central Washington. Temperatures around the region not nearly as warm as what we've seen all week long, but Deer Park got some sunshine, warmed up to 71 degrees. The opposite over in Coeur d'Alene, 63. We're at 67 out in the Spokane Valley, 69 out towards Medical Lake. See the cloud cover just now beginning to move into western Washington. That's what's headed our way. Will become mostly cloudy overnight with a low of 45, and then rain developing tomorrow evening. Not heavy rain, just showers here in the Spokane area. Look for a high of 69. So it's good dog walking weather tomorrow. And then for the weekend, I'm looking for big showers to move in Saturday and then linger into Sunday.
And chilly. Much chillier than we've been
Highs
used
only
to.
around 60.
Yeah, okay. All right, we'll be ready for it, Tom. Thanks very much. Well, a big announcement today from Major League Baseball making it official. The Seattle Mariners will host the 2023 All-Star Game. It's going to be the third time that Seattle has hosted the All-Star Game. The last time was 20 years ago in 2001. Leaders hope this game, which is expected to draw thousands of fans and tourists to the Emerald City, will be a huge economic driver. MLB Hall of Famers Ken Griffey Jr. and Edgar Martinez, they were there at today's announcement.
Well, I'm telling you, there's going to be no masks. There's going to be no the pandemic will be over. We're just going to go to the ball game and have a great time. I was in one of the I was at one of the All-Stars in the old Kingdom.
Oh yeah,
which was fabulous.
That is fun.
It was great.
Yeah,
Man,
All-Star
games are the best. All right, still to come on Krem2 News at 4 o'clock. We are taking a look at what you are clicking on. So coming up after the break, we'll tell you the top trending stories on Krem.com right now.